Still into the post plant we go. Valin doesn't set his sights towards a player.
Turns the flash. Gun advantage, health advantage. And of course he falls. The mind game's being played and the shots come through for Icebox.
Sometimes there are narratives we like to push ourselves here on the analyst desk. Sometimes, though, they push themselves. And my goodness, what a deliciously spicy end to Icebox as Tex, on consecutive rounds, stabs the dagger and then twists it in the back of his former teammates. What a way to end that map.
Dude, there's just no way that Lev get to overtime with a 1v3 full defusal of a spike by Tex and then win it by him getting another 3K in the clutch.
It's just, it seems so ridiculous against the team that he went his separate ways with, to Leviatán, the squad that he did everything with last year, and now robs them at the last second of an Icebox map that should have been theirs. And the tragedy for G2 now is that they've lost 2 overtime maps in this series. This could have been a 3-0. Today could have been done. But now we're going into a map 4 and 5 where, honestly, it looks rough for G2.
I'd say these teams look extremely different, especially on Icebox, right? We know that G2 are really cohesive. They are a unit, almost a hive mind at times, whereas Leviatán got these veteran players that want to take these fights, want to go for these little 1-2 pieces quite often. And it got caught out on occasion, right? But individuals like Mazzino are able to go huge on some of these clutch moments here. Leviatán have that star power in excess.
I mean, 25 multi-kills is ridiculous. Every round seemingly had a player from Leviatán stepping up, having their big moment, and taking these risks that were robbing G2 of round after round.
It was so similar to yesterday as well, where we even heard in comms them saying, hey, we need to actually play together, but they took those individual moments, and a guy like Mazzino absolutely has been stepping up these past few games.
Yeah, I think of that round where he has the hero rifle over towards B main, kills 2, carries that one across the board.
That was a gutsy buy, and it paid off.
Yeah, Lev have got to be such an infuriating team to play against, because every moment
because they win OTs against you that they shouldn't
Well,
win twice in a row. Yeah, I'd be mad.
They're so disruptive to like a macro, slow, like, large-scale oriented team like G2, right? It's really hard for them to get a read.
I'm walking away from both this map and Icebox and Bind earlier in the series feeling like, okay, G2 had some good ideas. I think they had a good read on the macro. They had some solid adaptation. We saw big step-ups from their players. And then right at the end of the game, players from Leviatán are finding their moment and winning these maps.
Genuinely, that was a G2 win, and I don't know what else to say. Like, the 1v3 full defusal, and not to forget, in the first half, too, when they won a round on time as well in a 1-on-3.
So talk to me about Lotus then, because we've seen 2 sides of the same Leviatán corner on this map recently. In fact, both of their last outings have been against Crew. One of them, quite a dominant win. One of them, a 6-13 loss against that same team not 6 days after. What should our expectations be? And for G2 fans, is there a way back into this series at this point?
Well, honestly, I think the strongest piece for Leviatán is their opening engagements on Lotus. I think the way they work around Icebox in particular on attack, fighting for space towards both Mound and Rubble is strong. But this is also a team that wins a lot of rounds on defense, which is very abnormal compared to all the other teams in our league.
Absolutely. For G2, though, I think one of the big advantages they've had is they've won still every pistol round in this series. It's relied on Lev crawling these ones back. And winning those early pistols, and also winning bonuses, which they've converted a couple, is so important on Lotus. If you can get that momentum on attack side, you pick up that Rezald early, you start snowballing, that's really the key to victory on the map that is the hardest to attack in our pool.
But how insane is it that they have won 6 out of 6 pistols and they've lost 2 out of 3 maps? Like, that's a 4-round advantage every single time you're rolling into a game, but it has not been coming together in the rifle rounds.
I mean, it's not just a 4-round. I mean, they've turned it into more than that, right, when you account for the bonus as well. This isn't in the script, but I want to ask you guys, how important is Jonah P here? Because we saw in Leviatán's attack, they're able to exploit with those lurks over towards B, pick him off, and then have an option to sort of pivot, when we hit the Lotus, like, he might be that sort of lone player out by that long A. If we get the lurk play between our Vipers and such, is that someone you're looking out for here as a potential exploitable factor?
I think it's somewhat, but I think on Lotus it's a bit masked because of how Killjoy utility works on Icebox compared to Lotus. On Icebox, all your Killjoy has to go into mid, so you actually have to take gunfights on that B side as a weak side of your map, as opposed to Lotus, where you're usually fighting on one side of the map heavy, and your weak side is more covered with your Killjoy utility.
But even if it's not that Killjoy getting flushed out, I think that Lev actually do a really solid job on their defensive side of this map of pushing for a lot of these kind of late round re-clears towards Mound, towards Rubble, flushing out that lurk, and then winning in the retake. So kind of keeping tabs on when they're re-pushing into space, when they're setting up Ospas for these re-clears is really important when you're watching Lev on defense.
And really what's going to make this game lights out for Lev is if they're able to bring Ospas back into the fold with them. On Icebox, he was flanking on almost every single round on defense, which makes sense, right? He's containing G2, but he was not there fighting with his team.
They've called him a KDA player.
Yeah, that's a little silly, right? It was a game plan thing from Lev, but I do think they stuck way too heavily into that. On Lotus, that will be a very different story. He is going to be rotating much faster and trying to retake with his team as opposed to holding down those forward lines on the
It's not like he had a large volume of frags, but they weren't always adding impact. Sometimes they were just like junk time.
A lot of
or
them were like the
frags.
round was already over, he's getting killed. And that's not to say he had a bad map. He was definitely pivotal to bring back that second half. But this is one where a lot more of the team is going to be building around him. A lot of the proactivity on defense is going to be around Ospas. And on the other side, for G2, I'm not really looking at any one player. I'm looking at the mental. They have been kicked in the face. They had no business losing Icebox. And now they have to recover and win back-to-back maps if they want to stay in this.
G2 have been up against them. Mental warfare starting to mount against them. Can they take it to a map 5? Well, you know, there's only one way to find out. Let's head back to our casters. It's Bren inside shot.
It's going to be a very tough ask, I think, for this G2 team as well, when they've just had these narrow losses. Map 1, map 3, deciding and really defining, I think, this overall series now. We're at the turning point, Josh.
Yeah, we are.
We're in Lotus. I mean, it's map 4. Right now on a precipice, I think, for Lev to potentially take this. They have looked so damn good on this map in the past.
Yeah, the last time that these two teams faced, this was the decider map. And Leviatan won with great performances out of Aspas and Mazzino. They did end up going 1-on-1 with Crew here, and most recently got beaten by them. I struggle to know what expectations really are, because again, G2 could have won all 3 of the maps. I think the desk is completely correct. This could be a 3-0. We could be going home right now.
Absolutely.
And G2 could be in the finals.
So G2, they got to toss it to the side.
Yeah, does G2 take that as, you know, we clearly have what it takes to win, or do they take that as today isn't our day? You know, there's multiple ways of interpreting the same situation.
Can't let the despair win, though. Up, contacting. Nade will rebound back towards the pillar. Tex has to respect this one, but King, maybe not so much. Might have different ideas of things, but inside the smoke, just making sure that he dominates this position, holds it for his team. Eventually, this will fade away, and he does have to back up.
And previously, we were talking about Lev needing to win at least one pistol, but actually now it feels like G2 need to keep the streak going.
It's been a major advantage for them, at least get themselves into the plan. Snakebite is good. Paranoia sweeps its way through and does get onto 3 of the players. Valid now through the smoke, seeking to fight this one. 2 for Nails, how the fight's going over towards Waterfall. Mazzino just holding it down, but did not expect Icy to be pushed up back onto that line of side angle.
Well, it's another one for G2 by the look of things. Yeah. Common Tex have got it all to do here. And really picking up Icy, and there's still time to contest.
But it is running short. Running their way through. Yeah, I mean, when it gets ticking like this, give it up.
It's almost impossible, isn't it?
So the pistol round here for G2. Part for the course.
Even for the thieves of Leviatan, who've stolen away 2 of the maps so far, they can't steal a pistol round that gets that low on time.
I mean, if we're going to be following the narrative, the script that we've drawn out, what is it, like a OT win for Lev on this map? After losing both pistols?
Yeah. And G2, that is 7 out of 7 pistol rounds so far in the series. And they're down 2-1. I mean, how are we here? But this is fantastic beginnings for them on Lotus. This is the kind of setup you would like to see. 2 players going into this one with pistols. Very flexible buy. But normally you're getting rifles up here and bulldogs. This is 2 bulldogs and a stinger.
A stinger.
It's not quite as good as usual.
Not too much punch. But again, open access to this C bomb site, so get a plan down. Open for mound control as well. But not necessarily having the guns if they want to just try and take a spam fight.
Yeah, gotta be honest, I don't understand what that smoke is from Mazzino, but we'll see if he runs it in a couple of future rounds, and maybe we'll see. The G2 here should be looking to try to build up some of these ults, loading stuff into Dicey. They shouldn't be too worried to lose a couple of people, because there were a few that had only brought pistols into the round.
The door gets open wide as well. Second wave of that. Flying forwards with the util.
And okay, these kills not loaded into Icy, but clean. And they're not going to have a massive ult to be able to use on the bonus round, but Leaf doing that deliberately. They've still got the 3 weapons that they brought into the round. Not that the Stinger's that great. I mean, really the point of buys like that is to try to keep double bulldog, rifle, you know, the Vandal, something like that in, but didn't have the cash for it. Does G2 have a non-ult-based bonus round here? I feel like I've seen some that ended over towards B pretty heavily. You know, especially if you're going to be getting Stinger online, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I get value out of it.
Those 2 players that only took a rifle, only took a pistol in the previous round can buy up rifles here, so it's still going to look really good. Triple Bulldog, Stinger, and a rifle on Jonah P. And this is where Lev needs to stop the momentum from happening. You do not want to allow these G2 players to win this round, get themselves out to a big lead, and start getting ults online. So they're going to fight over mount control whilst also contacting up towards rubble. This is unusual.
Oh, spotting a jump spot, I believe, from King. Yeah, and the wall's thin enough that eventually the bullets through the wall do the job for him. Snake bite, cover the retreat. Good opening kill.
And now this is going to make them think that maybe that mound pressure was fake. And they can go and contact re-clear that, perhaps? Because if 2 players were pushing up on A, surely they weren't also fighting over C. And Mazzino is still there. Just jiggling for information, not going to look to try to take the fight.
Where did G2 want to land? That's the question. Trent. With the spike going to be making his way back over towards A. Jonah P is very much isolated and alone. Might be looking for some opening for his team to pivot into B.
Yeah, they could totally end B here. Break that door. Put a little bit of pressure over towards A. Open the revolving door, and especially now.
Okay. That's a great opener.
30 seconds
now,
left.
That door might just be broken through. Indeed it is. Straight into the B hit. Narrowly avoiding most of that Killjoy util too. With about 20 seconds to spare, getting the plant down.
Spike planted.
Mazzino still has Paranoia here. And you can open up this revolving door between B and C. Paranoia through. Put a lot of pressure onto Jonah.
Jonah.
He's just cycling that.
Right door opens.
No flash used.
Nobody can clearing this? Eventually there. Okay, Mazzino. It's good awareness. The C's though does land. TP to disjointed, at least disconnected. Tex on walkabouts. Trying to put at least a few of these players down that are just holding the ground down into the post. Doubled up now, calling a fight together. G2. There's no hesitancy with the way that they're playing that one. King. Tap. Forced to break it. They know he's not sticking it.
What a beginning for G2 again. Icy coming out with a crucial double and a great call to take the fight to Lev there. I think mostly what we've seen is G2 hanging back in post plants and waiting for the fight to come to them, playing a lot of post plant utility if you cast your mind all the way back to Bind. But here, Jonah on the aggro lurk, and then Icy swinging aggressive. Gets the double lineup there. As one of Mazzino or Aspas probably should have gone for a little bit of a wider swing. And this now, truly, disaster beginning to the map for Lev. Of course, they've got the buffer of being a map up here in the series. And now, G2 with eco advantage, and here the ult starts spiraling too, because Icy's only 1 away from Showstopper.
Really should start running away from it. Or running away with it, at least the map pick.
Lev are going to look to play proactively on the opposite side of the map, anticipating Icy to be playing for ult orb, or perhaps G2 just to be playing for rubble.
These players get cleared, right? Nade rebounds, Satchel as well. Yeah, pretty standard clear here.
They're very solid. King's going to try to work his way forwards to the smoke and see if he can put some pressure on G2, but these are normally the rounds, or the times in the round rather, where G2 called the pause, and King notices that, finds a peek and grabs Icy.
Okay, gets out as well. Timing's being caught and captured. The players are dropping in. It's a 2 versus 2 with a spike in the middle of nowhere. King 13 health, has to back away, thinking the position was at least going to be pressured and pushed back. Jonah P still watchful, one eye on it. The time and taken through this smoke could be everything, but it looks like King not really interested in it. Sheriff in hand! And a bit of whiffage from Valen, it is everything. It hands over the rifle and puts all the pressure now onto Jonah P. Yes, the plant is down.
It actually didn't hand over the rifle. Mazzino didn't go for it.
Assuming maybe that it was already doubled up. Jonah P, snappy, not expecting it, but Mazzino just reveals himself and hands it for Jonah P. A 1v2 in that spot.
Great play towards the end there from Jonah. Saves his team and allows that snowball to continue. Could have been Lev's chance of getting back into this one real early on. Mazzino's kill onto Valen, I feel like really should have been the turning point in this round.
Yeah, but no gun gained.
And they just didn't know where Jonah was. You're dead right with your analysis of that situation. A bit of disappointment on the face of GoK, but this is going to be a rubble fight, trying to take space away from G2.
This one could flip easily. More has to be broken here. Valen TPing back. Trying to play this one with the rest of his team. Mazzino up onto the high ground. A pivot is called by G2. So fast on the retreat. Look at this. All 5 of them grouped up together. They want nothing to do with the A-Rubble fight, even though they've got ults. Good enough at least to clear this.
And I mean, you see Tex instantly take his way out of C. He knows that there's about to be a showstopper in his face, but there's nothing he can really do about it.
I see.
The only goal here for Tex defending is live.
There's no way he gets anything there. I mean, no damage done, no kill here either. Flood attempt potentially caught by Lev. Lockdown has to be used. Now that the util's flying forward, screening into the site. Still might look to try and fight. Icy tucks himself inside the orb. Posture in a position here for Lev, knowing that Mazzino, really somebody was going to be seeking to reposition and maybe survive those final moments. But 2 players detained. It's slowed down even further by Lev on the retake.
2
Nano swarms.
That's a brutal mistake from Leviatan. And they're just going to have to save off the back of that.
They have to save.
If those 2 players had avoided being detained there, they actually could have committed to it, hoped that Icebox could get a kill, use the showstopper to snowball things. I'm kind of confused how they managed to get 2 detained. That's just a lockdown that wasn't, you know, it's not like they were being pressured super heavily or anything. A weird one. But at least this does mean, in some weird way, that the silver lining of going down 0-5, Lev is still going to have a bye here. If they had committed super heavily to that, then maybe that wouldn't be the case. Don't think that's an optimal position to be saving, though.
No, it's really not. I mean, we've seen some teams just go back into the saving simulator that is Lotus. They fail it.
Yeah.
Losing an opening player, you save 3 rifles, 4 rifles, whatever it is, and then the cycle repeats itself when you're against the attack side in teams. Lev having to call this tack timeout for good reasons, because the map's getting away from them.
Yeah, and not just that, fairly disastrous mistake in the prior. Again, I really don't understand how they ended up getting detained in that situation. But there's a couple of players here, 1 orb away from getting their first ults on the defense side. That's Aspas and Com. If they get showstopper Nightfall, then maybe they can try to play some kind of flood retake setup, but there wasn't really that much they could do in the previous round.
No.
Tex knew that the showstopper was coming towards him, but there was no way of being able to disrupt it properly. Perhaps if they'd made the mid-round call to push out B and put some pressure mound in the retake. Yeah, here it is. All right, so there's, I mean, they're just trying to get a spam kill on somebody and don't respect it enough. It's just a timing failure, really. That wrecked them.
It really did. Yeah. What you were saying, I mean, Lev should have their chances, one away from a few of these ultimates, but it needs to begin with either fighting for some of this extremity control again, out towards A or C mound.
And not just that, it's not just that they have a chance, they have to convert here, Lev. Because otherwise their economy is going to be in shambles, and they're probably going to invest their ults in this round. And if those go, this is their chance to turn it. The ult economy is going to be out of control after this. Same reclear perhaps, Mazzino doesn't invest that paranoia this time. But Valen was thinking about it, so he TP'd back.
Yeah.
And now they contact forwards, thinking, all right, well, they're not going to go for their rubble reclear strategy, so we'll take the space, thank you.
The door's opened wide. Puts a bit of fear into G2. Gonna have to hold this one with a few rifles. Snakebite. Clear the close corner. Nobody playing there. Con with a jiggle as well. Orb in his face. They're hearing these footsteps, King. This is risky paranoia. It's Sweeps through, and now the fight is called here, at least by them. Lev, they want to try and collapse onto these players. That was the signal they were looking for. Tex gets acknowledgement at least that his position is being pushed here by Leaf, but the rest of his team, G2, still sticking around towards A, but not for much longer. Backing away now.
How do Lev get this information? It's just Com face checking. Doesn't use any utility, and Com's just potentially won the round for them there with that little peek up. He knows that Rubble's clear, all of that smoke pressure was fake, and Lev instant rotating over towards C, helping Tex out. And there's no big ults here to rip C
left.
away. They should be able to hold.
Heavy stack, Aspas is already there, laying in wait. Out for the back, and a Swarm shouldn't be winning that fight out, but eventually it's going to be tearing into pieces, just trying to get themselves a foothold in and through. Trent wins that fight. Aspas still one away from this. Oh, but time running short as well. All he needs is the one. Can't quite get it. It's instead King the IGL. Pushing them back and away with the satchels. Damage. Bullets flying forwards along with the util. Very little chances. So, like you said, Josh, I mean, you really distilled it down to just that. Com getting that perfect mid-round information, calling for the whole of Leviatán to get that heavy stack over towards C, knowing it was going to pivot there.
And taking the risk, right? It is a risk to jump your head up like that. Like a prairie dog that just pops out of his hole to see what's happening.
Remaining.
Yeah, rewarded massively, and this is the best case scenario for Leviatán here. They were 5-0 down, they take the tap timeout, and they win the round without even using ults. So now Aspas still has his. Com is still going to be getting up to a nightfall. The ults were just so important on Lotus.
Deciding factor that we talk about all the time when we're watching these teams play.
And G2, they're very reluctant to scale after taking rubble control because they're worried about that re-clear. But this time, it's Aspas opening the door, around mound, then clearing turret. Being very active early on here, Lev. While G2 are hesitant themselves because they're worried about what Mazzino could do.
Paranoia, I think, being set up here in the hands of Mazzino. Potential for the fight. As soon as Com or someone takes contact.
What?
And how the hell does he get his head ripped off there? Mazzino doesn't let it loose, not with the paranoia, not with the flash to try and re-peek and fight this one, despite the players being in position. But maybe now is the time to strike. Center flying forwards, near-sighted. Doesn't matter for Jonah P. But if you're going to take the fight like that.
Poison's off.
It feels like Aspas and Tex are still around this front B main area, though, so G2 might not want to commit to B this easily. They don't actually have info in that many places around the map. But from what we can see, they're in a great position to just win.
Horn has to be broken.
30 seconds left.
Leaf is going to be aware of this one. Tucking himself tight to the corner. G2, where are you ending? I mean, time becoming a bit of a problem here when Aspas is in position still with this Leaf, though. Tucks it away! No way! Aspas! He's in a 1v2. Satchel to evacuate and around, but Aspas has got the read immediately. Double satchel plays. Rocket flying forwards just to clear the corner, expecting that Heaven was already howled and found on it already. Just trying to take the timing as the plan was going down. G2. Oh, he goes frantic in the round, man. It really comes down to it. Minutia in the moments.
Yeah, a rough one. Certainly looked like Aspas could have made the game-winning play there as he pulled his showstopper out. That kill by Trent is ridiculous. And then King tries to follow up off the back of the paranoia and runs into a player that's nearsighted. It's very bold what they're doing with King and Mazzino over towards A. Do you remember they played to deny the ult orb in the prior round as well?
Yeah, just
going
trying
off the
to
back
fight.
of the paranoia. The paranoia is not good enough there to guarantee that King takes good fights. So they're very much taking risks. And those risks not rewarded just yet. Lev dropped down onto another eco. And they haven't found the value out of the ults that they've been looking to build up. I mean, in fact, it's only Aspas that's even been able to use a single ult.
Oh, okay, you're on a half-by round, but Com commits the nightfall anyway. Wants to try and get the information. There's no tags, no trails. So they know this is going to be committed, but you don't have weapons. It feels odd. Overextending your hand, using the resources, not thinking long-term with this map so far.
And even if the nightfall...
Whoa, okay,
Wait a second.
I mean, it goes back and forth, at least with the guns in their hands. But still, the pit hasn't been dislodged. Still, Mazzino taking the fight! And that is explosive. Erupting into the back of the site, making sure that he can pave the way to at least a chance of success in the pit. Aspas is creeping forward slowly. Jonah P lets it drop down now, but his position is known. Noted. Snakebite rebounds round. Mazzino! What a time to come alive. What a playmaker. Doesn't expect the position of Valen, though. Takes him out there, bullet to the side. Maybe seeing both of these players just drop to the side. King using his ult, but he's out wide in the open. Way ahead of it before it even blooms and blossoms, and Valen has been handed the perfect chance and opportunity. But Icebox,
Has he got it?
I don't know.
He does.
Time ticking away. I believe the set was stringing beforehand. So Icebox, man, on fire to salvage the operation. All that heavy lifting that Mazino was doing, not gone to waste.
Very unfortunate one there from Valen. If he peaked just a second later, was there a tap even from Aspas? There must have been to bait out the swing, but not one that I paid attention to. I thought Valen had that one absolutely wrapped. Perfect shot though towards the end. It couldn't have been better timed. Hero plays though, again, the individualism on display from Leviatan to carry them across. Mazino and Aspas, they were both incredible last time these two teams faced on Lotus, and they've had to do it again.
Surely it doesn't take another record-breaking performance. Leaf going to be absorbing this push. He hears them all running backward.
Sound bait.
Do you sound bait? Yes,
Yeah,
it is.
to try to get them to walk into Aspas.
Hasn't left. Off-angle position.
That's lovely.
More than favored into the fight. Nightfall's going to be committed here. Probably sound cue is going to be cut away along with the trails. Tex going to be concerned with this one. There's going to be a Prowler just latching onto him from the side. So, cut away. Used in kind with the util. Paranoia sweeping through and around. Not aware of it, Jonah P. Almost making magic out of the moment. Professor in action, but eventually gone. 2v2 now. Nade rebounds. Got to be aware of this one. It could be that peak timings, and it all comes down to the fight. 1 versus 1. King cannot deliver.
Icy's been so good for them so far on Lotus, pulling out really important rounds. He's not lighting the scoreboard up, but he's delivering for them in crucial moments like that. A double kill prior. Conversion on the 1v1 there.
One enemy player standing.
A little labored from both of them towards the end. The G2 get it across the line, pull themselves up to 7-2. Another one where Lev, their economy's knocked down.
Money is awful. Again, reliance on Aspas, but maybe they can turn it with this one. A rubble fight that might go their way in the direction. An opening kill onto Trent.
Yeah, I think that was just a spam through the smoke.
Not as good of a beginning as you could hope for.
Absolutely. And Lev have been trying to condition G2 to get scared over rubble. It hasn't worked that well.
Oof. The info's there.
Com close with the shorty. Aspas further back.
Yeah, with the rifle. Boombot's got to be broken. Here it is. They're trying to bait him and switch him up. No one taking it, though.
Worried about Leaf going for that lurk over towards B. And now Aspas, he leaves.
Heavy posture. They're forcing these fights out wide into the open. Now King is really isolated into his position. If he can even take one of them away, maybe there's a chance. But with him falling, surely the chance is scattered to the winds. You two are going to be able to get this plant down. Not the most ideal of post-plant scenario. Still, keep the rifles out. Door opened up. Hello! Seen something like that before. Mazino. This guy just seems to just be creating blessings out of thin air. And now the heat's being turned up. G2, got to be worried about this one. You're losing grip and reality of the round itself. It's not going your way. Valid, pressing forward and around. Can win the fight out, can hit the shot. And Com,
Get the
he
shorty
sees
out,
to the
mate.
fade. It's the only thing he can do. Ridiculous stuff by Lev.
It's just hero plays. You couldn't find a game that exemplifies the hero play versus tight team play more. Lev are just trying to make whatever they can work in these incredibly difficult spots.
That's ridiculous.
And like you alluded to, Brad, that is so similar to Mazino's round on Icebox, where he's got absolutely no right winning a situation like that and just first bullet, second bullet, finding targets. And not only that, as soon as the Haunt went into tree, Com was able actually to get into a spot where even his shorty was useful, hiding inside a smoke. It's just ludicrous what Leviatán are able to do, and yet they're still only at 3. Remember, though, that this does trend attack-sided and pretty heavily attack-sided as well.
It's looking like they might have done enough.
3? I don't know whether I agree with that, especially
This
considering
point, well-
listen, they haven't won a pistol, Brent.
Okay, but consider this. The economy getting broken now for G2, forcing them into the timeout. They've got big ults, don't get me wrong, but...
Right, but if Lev get up to 4, are you then...
Yes, if Lev get up to 4.
If Lev get up to 4 and then win the pistol, I'm feeling good. But that would defy everything we've learned here
It really
today.
would. I mean, they've...
How many times does
Yeah, no
Lev
pistol
need
round win.
to try a pistol round in order to win one?
It's been such a bizarre series overall.
It certainly has. And I think as you're looking forward to how these two teams are facing at Shanghai, there really is a lot that Lev could improve in terms of their teamwork and the chemistry, but the raw stuff and some of the ideas are working really well. For G2, it's like they're working at full capacity here, like all of the ideas and the team play is good, but they're still getting stuff stolen away from them.
Yeah, pushed to the limits, and the hero plays are just giving Lev a slight foothold. Double high-low. Zeno looking to peer past and around that smoke. G2 haven't been putting much emphasis over towards C. At the beginning of these rounds, it's mainly been, for a bit of that rubble control, but...
Bren, this is a force-up in this round. This is not some kind of eco.
Yeah.
It's double stingers, but they don't care that Icy's only got a stinger. He's got the showstopper to open things up. This might be headed towards B, but they could open the door first to try to clear out Mazzino's position. If the Prowler catches... Oh, they just send it into B!
Yeah, they want to send it. Okay. Nobody going to be holding close then. No casualties. Prowler not going to be dealt with here, so Icy's going to be cut away from all signs of life, though, with a rocket. A gamble that pays off. And the price is blood.
And they take down Mazzino, who's been a menace for them recently. And that lockdown should not survive.
Yeah, that is a very aggressive lockdown. Lev misplacing some of these critical ults that they were going to try and use to retake. Aspas still has the rocket available, one of his own.
He has to go for it here, and they know. That's why they're inside the smoke, ready to fight.
Trying to fight him forwards here as he's satcheling! Aspas! 2 down and dropped. And now maybe it's a path to victory. To Seize and an Anastorm all going to be overlaid and overlapped here. Not taking their time with this one, but ticking away.
So little time.
Yeah, very little time. Com has to stick this one, has to defend it. And Lev deliver.
What were G2 waiting for there on the attempt to try to fight that one back?
It's the snake bite, I guess, stopping them.
Yeah, they gave so much space though to Lev pushing forwards. And then got caught by the snake bite. Not trying to really apply pressure, but yeah, this showstopper does work, of course. But Aspas is against 2 players who are trying to counter him, who are running forwards with double stinger, trying to put bullets into him before he can press the button to detonate that rocket. Still managed to get 2.
Last round of the first half of Lotus. And Lev are on the verge, really, of making this more than a good round. TP's forwards as well. They're trying to seek to take control of this one. Mazzino dropped in their faces. Aspas will not be able to get out of there.
And now, with Aspas gone, no counter for the lockdown. Com's going to try it, though.
He was going to try and go for this one. It's only a box, really, that stands between him and a few of these bullets. King taking a peek. Nobody watching for that angle. Should get detained, surely. You think and imagine.
He's got to get out. Uh-oh.
He's not out. In fact, he's going to be TP'd upon. So there's a player. No defense in sight there for King.
Cover going out.
And there should be G2 getting up to 8. Lighter weaponry, but all the options to play post-plant setups. Not a great plant.
Not a great plan and not great health either. So there are still chances for Lev. But when they win that one out, suddenly those chances fall into the wayside here. Com is left into a real impossible task. It's a 1v3 and Waterfall control already gained and gathered. So an 8-4 finish for G2.
I think you could consider that the most standard attack side, number that we tend to get to is about 8. But I don't know what to think about this, and I'd love to hear your opinion too, but is 4 enough when they haven't been winning pistol? I just don't know.
Yeah, that's a real difficult ask. Did you think about it? Assuming the trends continue, 10-4 to the finish.
Maybe that's the problem, assuming that the trend would continue. Isn't it already an outlier that they've won 7 out of 7?
Yeah, we'll see how Lev end up tackling that one onto the pistol themselves. But G2 are really on the verge here of continuing this one further forwards. And earlier we heard from G2's ICMY, his IGL's advice was a game changer heading into playoffs.
Like leading up to playoffs, I had a big talk with Fallon, actually, and I think he kind of gave me some like words of motivation, and he also like changed like my outlook, like going into the games and how I want to prepare for the games. And I think I was able to just be more clear-minded and also just focus on what I need to focus on rather than just like focusing on too much.
Don't get it wrong. Don't get it wrong, there is a big difference between the level of rookie that Icy is and the level of rookie that G2 are. There's a massive difference between those. Even though this G2 team is our Ascension team in Americas, they've got a lot of experience. They've been to international events before this core, especially VALORANT, and they've been through the whole of Tier 2, won Ascension, the highs and lows that they've experienced. They've got that experience to be able to give to a guy like Icy, and VALORANT's got a good head on his shoulders for a fairly young guy as well. I don't think they're going to get knocked by stuff like Bind and Icebox getting ripped away from them. They kept their composure very well here. So much rests on this pistol round coming up.
You thought that, you know, maybe it plays a factor for G2 when you lose, you know, the maps in the fashion that they did, right? Icebox was essentially stolen away by Lev. Brought into OT just through, you know, luck of the draw, I suppose, but they've set their sights well over towards this Lotus map, knowing that it has to be a win for them to have any chance, bringing this one to the 5th and final map in our best of 5.
And of course, Lev, if they do win the pistol, they've got a great chance at running this all the way back. Their attack side is going to empower Aspas to go for the entries, and we've seen him be unbelievably good. Hasn't necessarily had that carry power so far on Lotus from what we've seen. It's been more to do with Mazzino finding those big moments.
Let's see how this clash opens up here for the pistol round. Already highlighted it. So damn important, but is it going to be following the trend?
Look at this, creeping all the way up on the jiggle peak.
And a punish inside, a punish inside! Squandered!
I mean, Tex is going to be jeered at by the other side there, but he had a great idea. They just can't win on these pistol rounds, man. Lev have got an uphill battle now again. They haven't won one of them in the series so far, and now they have to convert a 4v5.
A lot of respect, though, showcased by G2, this positioning here. Just anticipating they're going to contact all the way up. Paranoia. Good connection, at least, onto the 2 players. Enough to stop them and enough for the refight to be called, but they might just be getting bitten through into the side. Satchel. Icy has to evacuate and back. His position being noted and found out, picked apart and pulled apart. Out towards the back of that side. Lev, in the midst of all of this one, have found themselves an advantage. King with the plant now as well, into the back of the side. A right click from Leaf, reload, plenty of time, but eventually with a punish. Jonah P dropping down. You know exactly where he is. Finally, curse broken.
There could not have been a better time for it. If Lev want to look to close this series out right here and avoid us going to Ascent, the comeback had to start with that pistol round. And converting a 4v5 on top of it too. This looks like specific prep to me. We don't need to see each shot slow down.
Damn,
They won the pistol. They won the pistol. You don't have to do him like that. But yeah, that does look like specific anti to me. You can see Goked saying it as well. Hallelujah, we won a pistol.
And finally, the importance of that can't be underestimated.
Now just don't lose the follow-up.
Don't lose the follow-up. Prowler lures them. They know that Leaf's there. Oh, seized and tethered and caught to the corner. It's easy pickoffs on the other side as well as that. Tex, it's not having a good game so far, at least on this half. Surely you're still committed to this one. You cannot let Jonah P get away with that. Finally, trade coming in just ever so slightly delayed. 2v3. Door opens up. Don't quite have the guns for the job to try and take these long-range fights. They've got to make this clean.
Yeah, they'd like to keep all 3 of these weapons into the next. And then King will be able to buy a 4th. But any damage now is going to be pretty permanent.
Oh, upgrade. King, though, surely gets that. What is occurring?
So individual the way that Lev are playing this post plant. They're not doubling up, not bodying up.
Nade. That's going to be catch on to Com. No way! The Sheriff is singing right now in the hands of Icy. And you're really going to be delivering a death blow like this. Mazzino twists and turns around and abound. This guy with only 5 bullets left. He's going to make the most of everything that finds the timing.
Leviatan's savior there. He's been so good for them in this map. 18 kills already across 14 rounds. But he had to do way more than you should ask of him in that situation. The individual nature of how Lev are playing is hurting them as much as it's helping them at some
it really
points.
is.
You can't just be wandering forwards to take 1v1s against players with sheriffs like that. If you're down a player, or if you are the player with the eco disadvantage, sure, but come on. Got to be a bit tighter, Lev. They're going to take some rebel control. A bit of a delayed haunt there over the top from G2 as it lights up. Not comboed with any reclear strategy, though, and broken very quickly.
G2 willing to give them the space. Backs away to it. They know that the buy is going to be weaker here for Lev. Bit of a pre-fire, but Mazzino didn't have the gun for it.
He's just wandering in.
Yeah, I mean, he's all the way in. Look at this guy, Nade.
Like he got invited.
Ricocheting and rebounding forwards, pushing the players backing out of the position. G2 going for a reclear of their own. Paranoia. Forwards again. It's close quarters in action. Paranoia's not going to do anything there.
Yeah, good trade,
though. Fight against the player.
Good trade. At least it was doubled up, right?
Jonah P onto this flank. Good movement and awareness, but the shot not landing here for King. Snake bites. Offloaded on either side. King finally maintaining that composure. 2v3. 2v3 becoming just down to the one. Trent versus 2. Does have the rifle. Not planted for them. Worth saying, but with the door opened up, King's going to be taking the first contact on it. Acknowledgement with the body in the grave. So Lev stringing together these rounds when the buy was really rough there as well. It's worth saying.
Yeah, that wasn't some kind of big ult that got Leviatan through it there on the bonus. This is now, alarm bells should be ringing for G2. They can't afford to drop another map in this series. It would be them secured as the 3rd seed heading into Shanghai.
Yeah.
No opportunity to fight, to skip the group stage. And they tossed an 8-4 lead on split against 100 Thieves in the decider. Is that weighing in the back of their head? It feels quite similar, especially when you consider how snowballing Lotus can get. Aspas is 1 away, and this ult orb is going to get it online. I don't think he's going to want to invest it here unless the round gets a little sticky, but something G2 are going to have to consider in the next. It's just so difficult to defend this map.
It is. You can try and proactively fight as well. With door opening up, maybe hearing the orbs being tapped and cook up trap plays, but teams on the attack side have gotten so good. Narrowly avoiding anything. Not that G2 are even doing anything like that. They're just holding, anchoring players. Jonah P's hoping and praying that he can get away with just a snake bite sent flying and forwards. That's fast movement. A little bit whiffy, but eventually getting that kill.
2 players hiding in smokes here.
Fallon holding some util too. It's a flash and a nade. Rebounds. Calm. He can't see anything here. Should just get blown up. Kills. Flowing in this time. It's a kill feed that's built up entirely with green. Rocket offloaded against the back wall and misses wide to all of it.
Tragedy from Icy. And relieved smiles on the faces of the Leviatan players. G2 with the flood defend. No weapons, but still made a great go of it, hitting great shots.
Yeah.
Leaf with, I think, a double in that situation. It should have been converted, I think. Especially when Icy pops the ult, but he beefed the movement, bonked his head, and then missed the box.
Couldn't hit it, and straight past him.
All he has to do there is hit the box, and Mazzino's gone. Look at him.
Yeah, and I can't fault using the ults in that scenario. I really can't when they get into that spot, but it's left them in a real difficult spot. It's only Leaf who's 1 away to the lockdown to be able to use, but Aspas still holding on to a showstopper. Didn't have to use it in the prior round.
And that's why they were trying to play a little more aggressive towards C. They're going to try and set up a high-low here, G2. Right, so they've got a couple players looking down these C angles in case Aspas goes for the showstopper, but now Icy's starting to drift away. This is their game plan to try to counter the showstopper. Icy needs to be in position as soon as the hit comes through.
He's not looking his way. Different direction.
No.
Nade's going to be here. Rebounding, going with the horns. Full cacophony of util, all going to be expended. Aspas still holding it with the rocket. No one's going to be giving him anything at all.
The util is just so good for Lev to push these G2 players back. All of the space taken.
I'll say, Nightfall went out, didn't actually get any connection, so...
My ultimate is ready.
G2 don't have to worry about that ult now when they're playing for this retake.
But also, Lev don't have to worry about the flood defend, and the paranoia used so much earlier just to clear out space that was gained by the Nightfall.
And that pulls out the pit. Lev are going to have that one to work through. Act as a bit of a buffer now as the retake starts to come through. G2 are here. A few bullets will do it. Come. Not much more than that one. Still ripping them away. It's Icebox. Spraying them all down here. 2 left to stand this one, and G2 forced to make the decision now. It's a tough one at that. Full save. Back away. Keep the rifles into the next.
G2 are trying to come up with answers. You saw them there, attempting to concoct some kind of idea of how to counter the showstopper. The Levs, you know, as much as the defenders come up with ideas to counter, there are better ways of playing the attack as well. And Lev are doing a great job. It's not just as simple as trebuchet Aspas in with a showstopper. They throw really good utility to, you know, paranoia, seize util, that kind of stuff, to clear away any defender's positions, and then they nightfall on top of it so that G2 can't go for the flood defend that nearly worked in round 16. Lev are 1 step ahead here, and that's what's allowed them to get 5 rounds in a row. Once more, this was the decider map last time these 2 teams faced, and Lev, they ran away with it. It was big plays from Mazzino and Aspas, both of the players at the top of the scoreboard, especially Mazzino, who just seems to have this as his playground.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, Lotus hallowed ground, I think, as well, with the stuff that Aspas has been doing on it. Thinking back to him almost breaking kill records. Even break them, actually, but Lev not dissuaded away from this A rubble area.
No, it's the same setup from G2. They're running a passive Killjoy Viper setup over towards A, not looking to try to contest rubble. And I think probably lockdown retake over towards Heaven. Possibly at stairs, but I think Leaf would find it difficult to get into that position.
Yeah, and Leaf's not going to be taking any more peeks towards this. G2, the way that they play, they do give up an awful lot of map control. All that util that was saved, regenerated. Lev can send it forwards now with a Prowler as well, knowing the tree is cleared. Yeah, I'm finding it difficult to get through, though. Jonah P, he's got an orb up. Isolates up the site, and it does force Lev now into this B area. Icy, does he have any util to delay, at least with the nade? Push them back for but a moment. Lev finding it difficult to get any sort of foothold at any sort of site.
Leaf could just rip the lockdown here.
Yep, and with 26 seconds to go already, decision is going to be made. Lockdown emanating out. No kill to be found out towards tree, but the trade is on intact and on point. Lev still trying to fight over this one. The players are going to get detained. They are way overstaying their welcome. And there's a detainment. 2 locked down. They have to be defended from these tree players still. In the middle of all of it, they get the plant down into the post. And somehow no one else falling. Boom, but the paranoia a little bit too low for it. Tap onto it by Icy. King holds his ground down. What a shot to hit. Icy, half onto it already. Onto the defuse. Nightfall forwards. No more sound cues. And you have to play this one forward. Mazzino. Icy. He got it! No way!
He got the defuse before Mazzino was able to get it!
Absolutely absurd stuff, man.
I thought we were going to see there Mazzino coming out with another hero play to save Lev. He's had so many of them already on Lotus, but the kill just came through a fraction of a second too late. Unbelievable spray transfer onto Trent and Icy, but look at this.
That's just a half being gathered. I mean, listen. Not sure why it says Icy at the top, but it was Valorant who stuck it in the end. It was Icy that did all the work.
Yeah, and look, even King himself thought that they'd won that round.
Hard fight here by G2. They did win the round, but at the cost of the economy, taking a tumble. They want to fight this one. Hard out towards Mount. It's a paranoia flash play as well. Mazzino seeking to contain. Lit up though.
He survives. He
somehow gets out. I mean, there's contention happening all over the bloody map.
Yeah, King was just trying to make a load play happen on the opposite side, knowing that 3 players were committed to the C fight. And now calling to try to hit in, but this A site is not actually that weak.
No, door opens. No one taking tree control with a nanoswarm delaying. Com's alone. Com is alone. The Bucky misses. Could have been the difference maker. Really could have. Jonah P still with it. Revealed though. Now to seize. Connects him into the back of the side. Actually didn't even connect, but still will be cleaned up. Aspas low on HP, but not on the confidence. Wants to take it straight towards the back of the site, but Stairs being reforward in the process. G2 going for it again. The nade rebounds. Dealing with him. The adversary taken out. Star player no longer a threat. It's up to G2 now to try and find Right moment. Jiggle. Pushed out wide, Lev. Keeping it contained and isolating his fights nicely. Nightfall was earned and now going to be committed. It should be the nail in the coffin.
Ensuring that this one gets across the line. Nana Swarm's onto the spike as well. Trent can't hear anything. No chance of winning this.
Yeah, no chance.
Good close out there from Lev when things got sticky. It required different people to step up. Had no Mazzino to bail them out of that situation, and Com made sure that things were clean. That was G2 forced onto an eco after winning the round as well. Cannot feel good to allow your opponents to take the lead in that kind of way.
Sleep. They're all dead.
Ian, the two. You know who it is, baby. You know who it is. Let's go, guys.
Pit here for Jonah. He's the only player defending C. If Leviatán decide to accelerate, maybe he could get overwhelmed.
Doesn't choose to use it.
Gets reinforcements, gets an alarm bot.
Yeah. Okay.
And now this looks like a fairly good defensive setup here for G2. No big ults to disrupt the plan anyway. What have Lev got in store for us? Moving into a B hit.
Exactly as you were saying though, Josh. No ults to work with for Lev. How do you keep this momentum going, propelling yourself forwards? And speaking of it, Icebox sends himself right into the maw there. Valen eager to contain, eager to shut him down.
That was really nice. Viper wall goes up at the same time as the paranoia, isolates and blinds onto Icebox.
Okay, not crushed by the door. Hydraulic press machine.
Would be wonderful to have our first Valorant door stuck moment. Alas.
Alas, not to be today. Pretty clear calls with the wall up now by Lev, sending that haunt flying forwards. Trent has got ahead of all of it here, but he can't quite land those shots. Just trailing the bullets away. Is he aware of it? Not quite, Mazzino. Already crept forwards. Caught the timing ahead of them. It's chaos now in the camp of G2 as they're seeking to, if they can shore up the defensive, they don't really know where these players are actually going to be landing.
Left.
But the B side seems to be the goal. Icy still has a nade. I don't think there's any possible position where he could deny this one.
Spike planted.
Satchel first though. Door opens up, refight attempt by G2 and in through heaven! Everyone being down! Icy, Rocket, denied out from the one and done, but they cannot hold their ground. The discipline of G2 makes it nice and even now, 10-10 here on a defining map in the series of Lotus.
Showing us that they can win pretty comfortably as long as Lev don't have overpowering ults to be able to work with. Great protocol to deal with this entry. Like I said, blinded, Viper wall behind, and then Icy's so patient. This is what we're talking about with Icy. He's not necessarily a superstar duelist, but he's so tight with the rest of the team. He just secures them heaven control, waits, punishes the play, gets the showstopper, commits. Makes space for Valen to trade him out. 10-10. The eco is still a problem for G2. They've managed to scramble together a buy, though, with a Bulldog onto Jonah P. It's another passive hold over towards A, and Lev are just taking this space fairly freely. They're not really investing any util, it's just a single haunt. And they can get into position to use Tech's lockdown.
Leaf. He's been in that spot before. Side by side, gonna be here, and then Paranoia.
Here.
It would be an amazing round for Leaf to have an Odin, but he's not gone for it.
No. Third out here, at least with a Nana Swarm, a lot of damage done to Aspas. 39 health. They've been dropped down too. Door shut down in their faces, has to be reopened again. Now for the lockdown to be committed. It will clear out the site. G2 have no plans, protocols in place to try and break this one.
Yeah, but everybody's going to be ready to go for a flood defend.
Cover going out.
And they're in position for it. Already a smoke props up the one side. Lancel online, Satchel's through, past, and beyond the nade. Sees, dodged and avoided. G2 are being delayed into this one. Waves of util sent forwards. Their position gained and granted. Aspas is taking risks when he's on such low HP. And a critical kill at that. Icy, fall and door open wide. But where is this plant even going for? He can stick this one again. Trent, half onto it. Wants to nice this one. Nano's one broken. Sticking! Another one! Stolen from the grips of these players, and Valen dishes away any chance of saving the guns into the next.
Am I wrong, or were all 5 players still alive there for Leviatán when the defuse came through? I'm pretty sure Valen just got 4 post-round kills. That was ridiculous. Aspas went for a lurk play up through stairs. Look at him on the minimap there. He's trying to wrap around heaven. He doesn't realize this was a flood. There was a big communication problem, I think, here for Lev. They had no realization of what the pace of G2's play was.
Josh RT barely believing it himself here. Forces out a timeout of Leviatán.
Yeah, because they completely misunderstood what was happening there. They thought they had enough time for Icebox to walk upstairs, around, back through heaven, and be able to play for a plant that wasn't even for where they were all spamming from, a breakable door.
I'm not sure if that's just Icebox taking a risk when he's on double digits of health there as well. I mean, he gets chunked down early on. It makes the play.
It's not just Icebox, though. I'm highlighting that because it was the epitome of it. But the other players all left tree. It's planted for tree. They all left apart from one person and were playing around breakable door. Yeah. That's not where it was planted for. That's a massive mistake. But a really important break of that nanoswarm, as we were talking about, to make sure that they could get it across the line. And this time, Leaf does have that Odin. They've been putting such an emphasis on playing over towards tree. I would imagine that's where he's going to be playing. I think an Odin would shred what Lev are doing over in that side of the map, but instead they look to be heading C. And there's a juicy ult orb here to be taken, and suddenly Valen's going to be staring down the wrong end of a rocket-propelled grenade. There really isn't a good end of a rocket-propelled grenade.
No, there's not, man. I mean, there's really not.
You don't want the rocket end either.
Leaf, though, opting into the Odin buy.
Yeah, and actually, I said that they were heading towards C. They got spooked. And now Aspas looking to try to pick up the A ult orb. This is where Leaf has the Odin. Aspas could get melted here.
Alarm bot down.
He's giving it away. Angle. Yeah, he has given it away. Any sort of attack as well. Nanoswarm forwards. Prowler taken care of. 30 seconds left. Worried that it slipped through the net.
Again, Valen and Icy are playing over towards C. And this does seem to be a preset G2 anti-showstopper setup. I just don't understand how it's really going to work. Is the idea that Valen's supposed to paranoia Aspas as he goes in and then Icy gets the kill? That's the only thing I can think of here.
It's confusing, but vacuums up the orb. Aspas now. Satchel laid down along with the rocket. A paranoia miss! TP though, evacuation pushing forwards and back, and still shuts him down.
What an outplay!
Ridiculous stuff from Valen.
But they've still got the
30
sight.
seconds left.
Icy wasn't able to hold his ground and play off the back of his IGL's maneuver. This plant, though, it ain't great for Lev. G2 do not have that paranoia to be able to work with. Whoa, that is a... Was that pre-done damage already? I think.
Not too sure.
Based on the spam.
Either way, it's getting precarious and dangerous for Com. Leaf worried about the flank now. Lay it down for the turret, but we know there's nothing up with the sword still. Beaming down, the players up top into the box. Com. He's definitely low enough. Now, and there's a snake bite right at the back of his feet. It's always the ones you're not looking for that don't get you in a bad plan. G2 up to 12.
Why are you playing Mound?
Inevitable.
How are you going to find success there playing Mound? That's 2 rounds in a row where the Lev post plant has no line of sight on the spike.
Yeah, it's falling to pieces in these final moments.
They are getting cooked here. Trent's shrugging like, what are they doing?
What are they doing? What is
At the same time, though, beautiful here from Valen. I was asking what the game plan was. The paranoia missed, and yet he still got the outplay with the TP and still managed to get the kill on Aspas before being traded. That went about as perfectly as you could possibly ask for. Lev have got to shore up these post plants. Com can get his ult online, and maybe that can open up a sight for them, but Tree's more difficult to get through now that Leaf has an Odin. And also, they just haven't been able to win when the spike is down.
They really haven't. And G2 now are sensing it, I think. There's a bit of fear, trepidation in the back of the minds of these Lev players, wondering I might get over the hurdle. Now, G2 have definitely struggled in the past in a few of these maps in this best of 5, but this is their best chance yet.
Yeah, if this follows the theme of the rest of the series, though, Lev are somehow going to be able to win the next 4 rounds in a row and steal the map away. G2 have got to make sure that that doesn't happen. Close it out early. Make sure you convert on these map points.
We are really destined to see Ascend to that point, assuming they've got their grip onto it. Lev calling for a pause, but now with the Util flying forwards, it's all the indicator that they needed. G2, aware of the fact that they're going to be trying to play for this one. TPs have to be used. Valen, full evacuation, gets himself out of there. Again, another planned situation, this time out into the corner. Valen going for some spam onto that spot, counter spam as well onto either side, but at least the plant is down, and this is playable from the mound position.
Yeah, much better post plant now that the plant is better itself.
Nade has to be dodged around. Sees though, there was that connection. Aspas, he can't hear any of these sound cues. Doesn't know if the players are going to be quickly approaching that position, looking around, heads on swivels. They haven't cleared Aspas. Smoke, drop down. Jonah P. He's plucking apart the teammates right now in the insurance policy that is Aspas. He has to get traded. He does. G2. It's overwhelming. The discipline there that just sails them through it to this 5th and final map.
Both trends subverted here. Leviathan being able to take a pistol, but it does not matter. G2 closing out in their first opportunity on a map point. I gotta say, many mistakes there towards the end from Leviathan. They tried to solve it, but they just couldn't get over the fact that G2, their game plans are working, their teamwork and trading is working as well. I think they've played a better game here today. It's just that the hero plays have pushed things to a 5th.
It's time for a quick break. When we return, of course, the analyst going to get us nice and ready for that critical and deciding map number 5 in this best of 5 lower bracket finals. You don't want to miss it.
Step into the ring.